That evening, we were at the home of Old T the spirit medium, a man known for allowing the god of wealth to enter his body and predict good or bad fortune. After I, Atone MT, also known as Master T, and my nephew P had sat chatting with our host and waited for his neighbors to leave, Old T closed the door. He then sat down before the altar of the god of wealth, lit some incense, and quietly began chanting an invocation. Unlike at Gyeonggyua, near the marketplace, or at other homes throughout the district, where people who wished to summon the god of wealth needed to find a young boy to serve as the medium while everyone sat around him and repeated the invocation more than 10 times before the deity would arrive, Old T was different. According to him, he had been personally chosen by the local tutelary deity to serve as a medium. Therefore, at any time, day or night, whenever Old T wished to summon the tutelary deity or the god of wealth, all he had to do was light incense and recite the invocation. By then, it was already late at night. Everyone else in the house had gone to their rooms to sleep. Only the 3 of us and Old T remained in the front room. After the deity entered Old T's body, he began swaying from side to side and laughing loudly. I immediately asked, "Revered deity, there is something very important that I am trying to accomplish. May I ask whether I will succeed?" The deity began moving his fingers as though performing a divination. Then he shook his head and said, "Not yet. You will travel around quite a bit, but you will not get very far. Still, you will encounter no serious danger." Hearing this, I suddenly felt disappointed. At that time, I had traveled all the way from SG to this coastal region with the intention of finding a way to save the country. I mean finding a way to escape the country by boat. And now the god of wealth was telling me that I would not get very far. That meant my attempt to flee by sea would fail. Although I was disappointed, I had always believed in the saying, "Do everything within human power, then accept the will of heaven." So I remained calm and continued, "Revered deity, some time ago, at the marketplace, I encountered you while you were possessing the body of a young boy. Later, I met you here while you were possessing Old T. But I know that both at the marketplace and around this district, many families summon the god of wealth around dusk to ask for lottery numbers. If many people summon the god of wealth at the same time, and the god of wealth appears in all those different places, how can you personally be everywhere at once to give them numbers? Or are the spirits possessing those mediums merely claiming to be the god of wealth?" As soon as I finished speaking, the god of wealth burst into laughter. He replied, "People have asked me all kinds of things over the years, but no one has ever asked a question like yours. Very clever, ha ha ha. Let me explain it to you. There are 5 of us brothers who serve as gods of wealth. I am the eldest. Furthermore, each of us possesses the ability to manifest in multiple forms, so we can appear in different places at the same time. Suppose I am possessing a medium here while my 4 younger brothers are possessing mediums elsewhere. At the same moment, another group of people at the marketplace may be calling upon me. If I see that their matter is not urgent, I will finish what I am doing here first. Afterward, I can manifest another form and enter the medium who is waiting for me at the marketplace. That is why, in some places, people must repeat the invocation many times before I finally appear." Hearing this, I bowed respectfully to the god of wealth and continued, "Wonderful. Thank you for explaining something I have wondered about for such a long time. But there is still something I do not completely understand. You gave lottery numbers at Brother L's house near the marketplace, and now you have appeared here as well. The marketplace is nearly 20 kilometers away. I always thought every household had its own 5 gods of wealth. How can you be connected with both places?" The god of wealth laughed again. "Another excellent question. Around here, whenever people summon me and see me enter a medium, they call me Tuakon, meaning the eldest brother among the 5 gods of wealth. But nobody has ever questioned me as thoroughly as you have. So while we are discussing this, let me tell you something. I am responsible for financial affairs throughout this entire district. I do not belong to any particular house." The more he spoke, the more fascinated I became by what seemed to be information about another world. So I asked, "If you oversee an entire district, then surely you must possess considerable supernatural abilities. You can even know beforehand which lottery numbers will be drawn in distant cities. I wonder whether you can perform other, strange things." The deity laughed. "What strange thing do you want to ask me about?" I knew of a police chief who had allegedly killed many people attempting to escape the country by boat and buried their bodies near the coast. When drunk, he had even boasted about a belt made of 24-karat gold that he had taken from one of those people, who had hidden it with the intention of carrying it abroad. So I asked, I know a police chief who is extremely cruel. He robs people and has killed many of them. Could you break his neck? The deity's eyes widened. He outranks me. How could I break his neck? I was astonished. So I asked, revered deity, you seem to possess tremendous supernatural powers. That police chief, on the other hand, began life as an ignorant buffalo herder. He barely studied beyond the 1st or 2nd grade and can hardly read or write. The only thing he seems skilled at is pulling a trigger and killing people. He became an official only because he had been involved with the revolution for many years. How could someone like him possibly outrank you? The deity laughed loudly. You still do not understand. Or have you forgotten the law of cause and effect taught by the Buddha? Listen carefully. Anyone in this lifetime, no matter how ignorant or cruel, who nevertheless possesses wealth and enjoys a comfortable life is experiencing the results of meritorious deeds accumulated during previous lifetimes. Consider someone who plants rice. 6 months later, there will be rice to harvest and eat. But if that person consumes all the rice and never plants another crop, eventually there will be nothing left to eat but grass. The same principle applies to wealthy people. In matters of wealth, I may have considerable authority over them. But those who currently hold official positions are different. They too accumulated considerable merit over many previous lifetimes, creating the conditions that allowed them to become officials in this life. Once someone becomes an official in the human world, even if he is as ignorant as a buffalo herder, his official rank in the earthly realm may still be higher than my own rank. That is why I said he outranks me. And that is why I cannot do anything to him. Especially in times such as these, when vermin rise to become men, many ignorant people obtain prestigious and powerful positions. But everything follows cycles. At present, yin flourishes while yang declines. Therefore, ignorant people become officials, spirits and demons appear everywhere and disturb people, temples fall into ruin, monks wander from place to place, and ordinary people suffer from hunger and hardship. But before too long, yin will gradually decline and yang will flourish again. When that cycle turns, temples will rise everywhere like mushrooms after rain. Restrictions on markets will disappear, people's lives will gradually improve, and eventually capable and conscientious people will emerge to serve as officials. Only then will things truly improve. As for the police chief you mentioned, I already know who he is. Although I cannot do anything to him now, he is destroying himself through his own actions. Because he has committed so much cruelty, he has already shortened his own lifespan. Furthermore, those who have been reborn as his children are themselves people with troubled karmic affinities. Before long, he will have to face the consequences of his evil deeds. Having spoken at length, the deity shook his head and clicked his tongue. Before I could ask another question, he continued, I have revealed far too many secrets of heaven already. I am leaving now. Ha ha ha. The deity departed abruptly. I sat there stunned and disappointed that I had no opportunity to ask more questions about that mysterious world which, although invisible, seemed to influence and affect our present lives. Ever since meeting the god of wealth and witnessing what I regarded as his mysterious ability to provide winning lottery numbers, I had been deeply impressed. But there was one thing I had never imagined. A person holding official authority in the human world could, in some circumstances, possess a rank higher than that of certain deities in the spiritual realm. Perhaps this explains, within the spiritual framework described in this story, why we sometimes see foolish and cruel officials who mistreat ordinary people yet continue living comfortably and accumulating wealth. They may simply be consuming the blessings accumulated through deeds from previous lives. As I reflected on all this, I remembered passages from the Buddha's teachings in the Daya Nikaya, long discourses. As I vaguely recalled, some people accumulate sufficient merit that, after death, they become honored and receive offerings from others. Some may be reborn as celestial or spiritual beings. Yet such states do not necessarily last forever. When the merit supporting that existence is exhausted, they must eventually be reborn again. Furthermore, the deity himself had said, do you not understand, or have you forgotten the law of cause and effect taught by the Buddha? To me, this meant that the god of wealth had indirectly acknowledged the Buddha and affirmed the principle of karma taught in Buddhism. The more I reflected upon that conversation, the more things seemed to become clear. Even today, as I sit here writing down these memories, I can almost feel myself sitting once again in that room, speaking with the god of wealth. Yet the whole experience now seems like a dream that passed only moments ago. And according to my later recollection, the deity's prediction eventually came true. Not long afterward, that cruel police chief became seriously ill and died prematurely. His fortune was squandered by his children, and his descendants themselves eventually fell into decline.